There was an interesting story on a Drudge Report this morning that caught my eye. It was the headline in the morning, and here it is, How Hollywood Helped Hitler. You say, what? Jewish Hollywood helped Hitler? I know you're not supposed to say Jewish in Hollywood. I get it. I'm sorry. Especially then. I mean, you can make the connection at that time. You know, the chilling history of how Hollywood helped Hitler. You say that's an oxymoron. Hollywood didn't help Hitler because so many Jews worked in Hollywood. Why would they help Hitler? For dollars. Read the article on the Drudge Report. It's a new book called The Collaboration, Hollywood's Pact with Hitler, by the right-wing Harvard University Press. And in the article, based on archival documents in the U.S. and Germany, he reveals the shocking extent to which Hollywood cooperated and collaborated with the Nazis during the decade leading up to World War II to protect its business. Collaboration. German translation, Zusammenarbeit. Zusammenarbeit. Arbeit macht frei. Zusammenarbeit. Zusammenarbeit. I can't pronounce it. My people are from Minsk, not from Munich. Zusammenarbeit. Arbeit macht frei. See, that's my logo. That's what gets me up in the morning. I have a big sign over my bed which says Arbeit macht frei. It was cauterized into my brain at age 1. So that's why I keep working. It's why I work. It's why I go on, because I have no choice in the matter. To me, work is life. But in that sense, I'm no different than many people who have achieved a great deal in life. Work is the only salvation, wrote the great sculptor Rodin. I'll never forget reading that. Work is the only salvation. Work, work, work. So to me, work is a salvation in that regard. But when I look at this story, a bell goes off in my head from the How Hollywood Helped Hitler. In a desperate attempt to protect German business, the big studios let Nazis censor scripts, remove credits from Jews, get movies stopped, and even force one MGM executive to divorce his Jewish wife. So I said, okay, what's the parallel today? Okay. In devastating detail, Michael Savage reveals how the big studios, desperate to protect distribution in Arab nations, let Islamists censor scripts, remove credits from military men, get movies stopped that show Muslim terrorists, and even force some executives to marry Muslims. That would be a good story, wouldn't it? But you won't read it for another 30 years because it's too current. And I'm not a prophet. I'm a poet, and I'll be right back. And how Hollywood helped Hitler. They let the Nazis censor scripts, remove credits from Jews, get movies stopped, and they forced even one MGM executive to divorce his Jewish wife. Okay? Say, wow. Well, when is the Hollywood Reporter going to talk about Katzenberg, Hatzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg? Today, big Hollywood, Katzenberg, Hatzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg, catering to Islam, catering to Arab money, catering to the forces that do not want us to see a Muslim as a terrorist. They have shown our soldiers as Nazis. These bastards would rather show our soldiers as Nazis than the fanatics that they're facing off against every day as the Nazis of today. So don't tell me that this book about the 1930s is that shocking. What's it going to take until the year 2070 till we find out in the 1910 era, from the year 2001 on, Hollywood had been for sale, and they were terrified of losing the Middle Eastern market. Moreover, most studios were owned, to a certain extent, by big oil. In addition to that, they were sold out to big China. When have you last seen a movie showing Chinese communism for what it is? When have you last seen a movie about the harvesting of organs from political dissidents in China? When have you last read a book with the Chinese communist as the villain? Well, if you read my novel, A Time for War, you would have seen why I wrote it. You got a twofer out of it. But you didn't read that novel because you didn't read about it. It wasn't on the top of the list. The reason it didn't make it to the list is because it was boycotted. It was boycotted by everyone in the media who was tied into China. It was boycotted by everyone in the radio industry who's tied into the corporate interests that say, no, you can't attack China. So it's like one man screaming, I'm like screaming in the wilderness lately. I feel more and more and more like I'm in a desert screaming in the wilderness, only there's no burning bush. There is no burning bush. There's no burning bush. So when God said to Moses, I want you to part the Red Sea, I want you to lead the people, he said, leave me alone. I got aches and pains. I got a backache. I got a bad skin condition. Leave me alone. Pick someone else. Go get Charlton Heston. So Moses said, leave me alone. That's all. I'm just a regular guy. I know what the heck is going on. I don't want to be bothered. I'm not leading anybody. God said, no, because you have a speech defect, Moses. Because you have a skin condition, Moses. Because you don't want to lead the people, I have chosen you. So Moses said, well, what sense does that make? You're supposed to be God. Why don't you choose someone who wants the job? Look at Charlton Heston. He hasn't been born yet, but there's someone around here like him. One of the ancient Israelites must look like the future Charlton Heston. Pick some central casting Jewish guy. Pick someone over 6'2". You know, with a nice tan. I'm crippled. I got a psoriasis. My back hurts. I stutter. I fumble. I'm a fumfer. I don't want to lead anybody. I can't part seas. I don't know how to do it. I didn't learn that. My eye hurts me. I got a headache. Leave me alone, God, please. No, because you don't want to do it, you're going to do it. So that's the rest is history. That's how it happened. It's the story of Moses and God in my interpretation. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It sort of spontaneously erupted from the volcanic soul that's underneath the soil of Michael Savage. And right now the soil is very porous. I don't know what's going to come up next. But we'll stick to the Hollywood catering to Nazis and the comparison to today. Why don't you call me and tell me what you think? Am I right about Hollywood catering to Islam, to Arab money, and to Muslims? Yes or no? Hitler and Hollywood, films Nazis loved and hated. So the Nazis threatened to exclude American movies. More than 250 American movies played in Germany after Hitler took power in 1933, unless the studios cooperated. Before World War I, the German market had been the world's second largest, right? So what happened was the Hollywood biggies said, okay, we want to smooth it over. We want to smooth away our differences with Hitler to preserve commerce, because at that point, Hitler already was, in control. You wouldn't believe it. You say, oh, come on. Well, read the book. It's from Harvard University. It's just coming out. So then the studios start to change the great 1930 movie All Quiet on the Western Front. Hollywood regularly ran scripts and finished movies by German officials for approval, just as they do now with China and they do now with Saudi princes, one of whom owns 18% of Fox News. I think is Alawi. Alaweed, I don't know his name. Alaweed owns 18% of the boys and girls on Fox News, all nice people. But don't tell me there's no influence over what they cover. So back in those days, when the Nazis objected to scenes or dialogue they thought made Germany look bad, or if they criticized the Nazis or dwelled on the mistreatment of Jews, the Hollywood studios would accommodate them. And remember, this is when Hollywood was 100% Jewish, and make cuts in the American versions, as well as those shown elsewhere in the world. Not only that, we learned that Nazi pressure managed to kill whole projects critical of the rise of Adolf Hitler. In fact, Hollywood would not make an important anti-Nazi film until 1940. Hitler was very smart. He was obsessed with the propaganda power of film. And the Nazis actively promoted American movies like 1937's Captains Courageous that they thought showcased Aryan values. Now, look, you've all known, if you're educated, any educated American knows, that American companies such as IBM and GM did business with Germany right into the late 1930s. But many of you are not aware of the fact that Hollywood's cooperation with the Nazis was as rampant as we're learning today. But so what does it have to do with today? The minute I read this article this morning, how Hollywood helped Hitler on the Drudge Report, immediately a bell went off. I said, really, how interesting. Typical Hollywood. They'll tell you about something that went on in the 1930s. Oh, wow. But no, we're clean now. We're clean now. All of us drug addicts and degenerates, we're clean now. Oh, yeah, we're clean now. When have you last seen a movie showing a Muslim terrorist? When? When have you last seen a movie showing an American war hero instead of some broken basket case who shoots innocent civilians and women? When? With these sick, disgusting wrecks of human beings in Hollywood have poisoned the world. Poisoned the world. The sewer pipe of Hollywood has poisoned America and is poisoning the world. Katzenberg, Hassenberg, Matzenberg, Ratzenberg, Spielberg, I spit on you. You're the worst of American society. You're the worst that ever existed. I'm going on a tirade against you. It's time you heard it. No one will dare say it. You think you're demigods. You're not demigods. You're garbage. You put out garbage for the world. It's the sewer pipe of Hollywood that comes from your diseased minds that goes out to the world. And let me tell you something else. And I'll say it once and for all. I've said it for years. We have real problems with Islam. It's a cultural clash, as we all know. But if you analyzed what the average Muslim thinks about America, it's not so much our foreign policy that they object to. It's not so much Israel and the Palestinians they give a whit about. It's the sick, perverted garbage that Hollywood is pumping into their children's minds. Worse than drugs. Worse than drugs is the filth that comes out of Brentwood. The filth that comes out of their degenerate minds. The filth. I remember going back to the 1980s. I made note of it. I wasn't in the media. I was a mild-mannered nutritionist, herbalist, health writer. I noticed something going on. I was always a movie lover. Every movie poster that was in a movie theater in America starting in the early 1980s showed a degenerate slut or fake man holding a pistol in their hand. Every movie poster. I made a note in my head. There was one slut after another with a mini skirt, with a tough look, with the arms crossed, with the high heels, with a slut look, with a gun in her hand, staring down at the audience. Or there was a fake man with a beard wife, another one with a gun in his hand. I said, what are they doing here? Every movie poster shows one of these so-called role models with a gun. What's going to happen? Well, what's happened is what's happening. They did it to this country. They did it to us. What do you have to look? On the moon? You have to look in the stars? You expect the senators to call a hearing about the degenerate sickness coming out of Hollywood? They're going to have a hearing when? When are they having a hearing on Hollywood's destructive movies and what it's doing to our children? When are you going to have a hearing with Spielberg? Or a hearing with one of the other prizes from Brooklyn come Brentwood? When are you going to have a hearing on what they're doing to the minds of our children? The rot. And what it's doing abroad, and why the Muslims are on a warpath against us, because they don't want their daughter becoming a slut, and they don't want their son becoming a degenerate drug addict. But that's what's glorified by these sickos.